how you write the ECQs, it's called the CCAR method. And all of them have to be written in this. I mean, you can kind of change the order a little bit, but it's called CCAR. And that's, you had a challenge, you know, there was some challenge that you were faced with. And here's the context, where you were working, what the situation was, the action that you took, and here's where you showed your vision and, you know, all those other competencies and the result. So you want to make sure that the examples are very specific and measurable, you know, so you saved, you know, $1 million, or you saved so many jobs, you know, so you want to quantify the achievements need to be quantified in numbers or percentages or timelines, you know, that you were able to do X thing in X amount of time, in Y amount of time, something like that. But that's the structure of how the ECQs are written. CCAR. It's not CCR, it's CCAR. Couple of do's. You want to use action-oriented verbs. So you use active voice rather than passive. I established a new team structure that eliminated the need for 6 supervisors. Passive is the establishment of a new team structure was considered one of my best accomplishments in that it reduced the need for 6 supervisory positions. In addition to being passive voice, it's also way too wordy. So you wouldn't want to say the passive one in that, you know, just, now, and you don't have to pat yourself on the back either, you know. You want to use transitions to flow from one section to another. Make sure that you spell out and limit the use of many acronyms, because the reader won't know what you're talking about. So make sure you spell those out. And there are a couple of different levels of review, and I'll get to that in a minute. And write in layperson's terms. I know that there are some jobs that are very jargon heavy, you know, a lot of IT positions are, you know, and you have to write assuming that people who review are not going to be familiar with what you're talking about. So you've got to be able to write in so that anybody can understand it. Here are a couple of do nots, a couple of don'ts. Do not use examples, as I said, older than 10 years. Don't refer the reader to other parts of the ECQ. So when you're writing in one place, don't say, well, see, you know, my discussion in ECQ 1 for more, blah, blah, blah. No, don't expect anybody to go back and forth. That's not going to happen. Don't use the same example for more than one ECQ. Don't include pictures. Don't overuse bolding and underlining. Don't make, as I indicated a minute ago, don't make reference to known figures. Don't make disparaging remarks about former supervisors or subordinates. Don't reveal information about your political affiliation or activities. So if you talk about it, Melreed, to answer your question more specifically, if you can talk about it in a way where you talk about your activity in a political campaign without saying what that campaign was, it would be okay. Don't use more than 2 examples per ECQ, and don't include vague statements that leave open-ended questions.